Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's been a few months, weeks, years, I don't know, but I just kind of lost track of the whole channel thing, and it just became a distant memory all to me. So, since it's nearly Christmas, not yet, but pretty freaking close, 4 more days, 3 more days, wherever you are, 5 more days, I don't know. So before Christmas Eve and the Christmas and all that holiday joy, I've decided to bring some holiday fear for you all. So for this week or a few days for holiday fear, we have some scary stories for kids. Although the first story, Christmas tree decorations, will be a bit gory near the end, before the gory parts, but don't worry, because before all the blood and gore, I will definitely warn you, so all you queasy-stomached kids and adults and people can just leave before you puke up your lunch. Or dinner, or whatever meal, thank you. So Christmas tree decorations is a spooky story about a girl who is home alone on Christmas Eve and has a nasty encounter with a man claiming to be Santa Claus. And of course, if it's a horror story with gore and blood, there will be no Santa Claus, because he's a jolly old man. So, without further ado, grab a seat, relax, and let's get scared. It was Christmas Eve, and an 11-year-old French girl named Juliette was decorating the Christmas tree. Her mother was working as a nurse at the local hospital, and the two of them lived alone in a small apartment in the suburbs of Paris. Late that evening, Juliette's mother called to say she would not be home until late that night. Juliette continued to decorate the tree with all of the lovely things her mother bought at the store. She draped some multicolored Christmas lights around the tree and hung beautiful ornaments on the branches. After placing the angel on the top of the Christmas tree, she finally finished decorating and sat down to relax and watch TV, as we all do. Now, for this year, I don't think we'll set the Christmas tree because it's just a whole hassle, but there will be presents. Even though she was all alone on the 6th floor apartment, Juliette felt safe as she gazed out across the lights of the Parisian sky. From her window, she could see the Eiffel Tower and the Champs de Mars. I don't know how to read that, because I'm reading this on my phone. Most of the other tenants in the building had gone home to spend Christmas Eve with their relatives in the countryside. The apartment building was almost deserted. Keyword, almost. Juliette was growing bored, waiting for her mother to return. Oh my god, I can imagine. Suddenly, she thought she heard a scratching noise at the front door. She turned on the television and listened carefully. There was an eerie silence. Curious, she slowly approached the door and looked through the peephole. To her surprise, she saw a man standing outside, dressed in a red suit with fluffy white trim. He was large and fat, with a dirty grey beard, and wore a red hat on his head. He knocked at the door loudly. Nervous and concerned, she asked through the door, "Who's there?" "I'm Santa Claus," the man replied. "Let me in. I'm cold, I'm tired, and I'm hungry." Me every day after school. At this, a chill went down Juliette's spine. She was no dummy. She knew that whoever this creepy man was, he wasn't Santa Claus. "My mother's in home right now," she said, which she shouldn't have. Her voice shaking. "Please leave." Peering through the peephole, Juliette watched as the man's eyes filled with anger and his face twisted into a grimace of hate. He began knocking at the door even harder and rattling the doorknob. "It's Santa Claus, Juliette," he growled. "Have you let out some milk and cookies for me, Juliette? You know how much Santa loves his milk and cookies." "What about the cows for the reindeers?" The young girl had a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach. How did he know her name? The man began kicking and pounding at the door. She peeked out again and saw him reach into his pocket and pull out a switchblade. He shoved the knife into the keyhole and tried to pry it open. Juliette was terrified. She didn't know what to do. "If you go away, I'll call the police," she shouted. All of a sudden, the knocking stopped. Juliette stood perfectly still, afraid to move. Minutes passed, and she started to think that the man might have been scared away by her threat. She slowly approached the door and looked through the peephole to see if the man was really gone. The hallway seemed to be empty. Suddenly, she saw the man running down the hallway with an axe in his hand. Juliette screamed and ran to the closet in a panic. She crouched down and hid behind the coats, as tears of fright rolled down her cheeks. She heard the boom as the man tried to smash down her front door. There was a mighty crack as the door gave way and the man came crashing through the splintered wood. Laughing to himself, he called out, "Juliet, my pretty, where are you, Juliet? Don't be afraid. We'll have ourselves some fun tonight. Where are you hiding?" The crazed intruder walked through the house, searching for the frightened girl. Juliet curled up in the closet, trembling with fear. She dreaded to think what he planned to do to her. Suddenly, the handle of the closet moved up and down. Then the door began shaking, and she heard the man's voice laughing. "Juliet, I know you're in there," he said. "Open up for Santa. Open up before I open you up." The man swung his axe and it struck the closet door with a huge bang, tearing into the flimsy wood. Juliet screamed and grabbed a wire coat hanger and twisted it into a point. She waited, her eyes open wide and her hands were trembling. There was another loud crash and the closet doors gave way in a hail of splinters. The horrible man tore the doors off their hinges and thrust his head in between the coats. He was laughing and drilling like a madman as his huge gnarled hands grabbed at the horrified girl. Juliet held up the point end of the coat hanger and bravely thrust it into the man's face. It went straight into his eye. So now it's getting gory. So please leave. He recoiled in pain, screaming with rage as blood flowed down his cheek. He ripped the wire out of his eye socket and grabbed Juliet by the hair. Then he dragged her, kicking and screaming, out of the closet. The man pushed her to the ground and held her tightly by the neck, leaning over her. Blood spilled out of his eye, splattering all over her face. His mouth twisted into a grotesque smile, and he whispered in her ear, "Tonight you will be privileged, my lovely Juliet. I've got a list and I've checked it twice. I'm here to decide if you've been naughty or nice. You can scream and beg for your life. But naughty girls get the axe and nice girls get the knife." It was after midnight when Juliet's mother returned home. She saw the front door hacked to pieces and rushed inside to look for her daughter. Gazing around at the carnage, her eyes struggled to take it all in. Then she began screaming in absolute horror. The Christmas tree was decorated with Juliet's entrails, and her severed head was perched on the top. And that's the end. It seems like mothers shouldn't leave their daughters who was 11-year old named Juliet at home alone, because a man will doink her. Yeah, so there's actually a lot of stories. There's the Grotha, Girls' Night Out, Carol Singers, the Sock Puppet, Krampus, the Clown Puppet, Purple Fingernails, Black Peter, Hans Trap, the Bloody Axe, Christmas Monsters, Clarice. So yeah, there's actually a lot. There's 4 days till Christmas, so I won't be able to read it all. But if you like this one story, I'm pretty sure I can read one every day, even after Christmas, just for the whole holidays of 6 weeks. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope you liked it, and I hope you sleep well. Thank you all. Bye, and sweet dreams.